Good morning, everybody. It is Wanda here this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's tarot. How are you all? Welcome, everybody from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and the US and Asia. And if I've forgotten any other country, welcome. Now, I've already asked how are you, and I'm just waiting for some of you to hop on. Hello, everybody who's hopped on right now. Today's very, very quick question for you this morning, or this evening, or this afternoon, wherever you're listening in from. Hi, everybody. Is what do you need most right now? What is it that you need? Do you even know? And how can you give that to your beautiful self? You know, when I was younger, I used to think like this. I used to think, right, I will look after everybody else's needs first. My children, my family, you know, my work, make sure everybody had what they needed and what they wanted. And then I would look after myself. But by doing that, I was actually making myself last, right? And by whatever time it took me to satisfy everybody around me, I was just way too tired to even look after myself, right? And then the next day would come along and I'd do the same thing all over again. And so really, I was not really looking after myself or giving to myself. And so that kept getting put off. What do you do? Do you do the same as what I used to do? And it's a habit that I was completely unconscious about. What I mean by that is I thought that that was what I had to do. It was a way of me coping with life. Okay, so I thought that was my job. It was a job that I perceived from the women in my life, actually, when I was a child. And so I thought, right, my job is to look after everybody, to make sure they have what they need, that their needs are served first, and that I would look after me. And you know what? My history and my experience is I never got to do that until I was so exhausted, I was nearly dead. And then I'd hit the wall, and then I'd have to actually then, you know, take a complete backdrop from things because I wasn't giving to myself. This is really, really powerful, and I see it every day. I see it every day. And when I started getting more and more involved in my own personal development, because I'm in my 60s now, and so therefore I'm really very conscious about looking after me first, emotionally, mentally, physically, right? I have to come first. It is a must, and I'm not being selfish. A lot of women really struggle with that old way of thinking because the old paradigm. Can you please, if you're listening right now and you're getting what I'm saying, can you comment? Let me know. Does this agree with you? Are you struggling with this? Like I have a lot of the time, right? And I was always waiting for somebody to pop out of the ether and go, it's all right, Wanda, I'll look after you now. I'll come and help you. We're not realizing that the whole lesson was to look after me first. Now, like I was saying before, this is an old paradigm of thinking, and it's no longer that way. You know, what determines a woman and what determines a man are shifting right now in this new way of thinking. Now, it's not a new nasty way of thinking. It is a new honorable way of thinking, because your job is to look after you first. Number one, wholly, solely, emotionally, mentally, physically, everything. And it starts with what do I need right now? How can I best serve me? Do I need time to rest? Or do I need to go and have a massage? It's not always going and doing something else. It could just be going, I'm going to have a pajama day today, right? And if you need to do that, then do it. I was talking about this with my husband actually the other day about, the menstrual cycle of women. And back in the history, when the menstrual cycle was happening, the women took like a week out of their lives to actually embody the menstrual cycle. Now, for me as a girl growing up, that menstrual cycle idea was horrendous. Okay, and women have to plow through that menstrual cycle time, which is of course very different for all of us. And for the guys who are hopping on right now, I'm apologizing for the menstrual cycle conversation in that way. If you don't want to listen, please get off right now, or if you're listening to the replay, by all means get off. However, this could be very fruitful for you to listen to this. We don't honor ourselves. And so women over history, and I know that some of you at some level would understand this, that our menstrual cycle is us bringing back us to our power. And we don't have to work the 24/7 every day. And so even though my menstrual cycle is well and truly over, thank heavens in that way, I feel like, I can climb a tree again. I know that sounds weird, my limiting beliefs, but I like the years that I'm in right now, the wisdom and all of that kind of thing that I have been able to learn from and understand the things that I've missed in my life that I can share and impart with you guys that are still young enough to get it. And well, I don't mean it young enough to get it that the others don't get it, but if you're young enough to understand what I'm talking about and that you're young enough to start embodying that. Because I look at myself on the other side of the female spectrum now. I'm moving into what we call the crone, the wise woman, the woman who's had the children, who's done the experiences. And so I look at it from that perspective when I'm sharing that any of you, whatever age you are, that you can take this teaching on for yourself and not make the same mistakes that I made when I was younger. So whatever it is for you to take that time out for yourself, whether it's quiet time, whether it's a walk, whatever that looks like, that has to be not the last on the list. It's got to be the first on the list. First, right? I find myself, even at my age right now, going into that program without me even realizing. First I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to look after me, because that's what I've been doing since I was a child, right? Since then. And so it's a really horrible habit to break, if that makes any sense. So I want you to write down for me right now, what is it that you need to give to yourself right now? And I've seen that Joyce has written moving forward. What does that mean? Moving forward where? Where are you going? Write it down for yourself. What does that mean? Does that mean moving forward, forgetting the past? Or does it mean moving forward, yet I'm going to do something different? Because here's another thing I want to talk to you about. Unless you are clear about what it is you actually deserve in life, what it is you actually feel you want to create in your life, unless you are truly specific about what you want or desire, I don't like the word want, that you already have it, unless you are truly specific and we stop speaking in generalistic terms, that won't come to us. Because the universe is on the other side trying to figure out what that moving forward, or I want happiness, what that actually means. So if you can get it down to a super specific thing that you truly desire for you, then create that. Write it down. I'm always saying that for you. Please write it down. Now, write it down, because when you're listening to this and you're thinking about it, and you can write it down so easily on Facebook Live. Sometimes when I'm writing things down, when I'm listening to somebody on YouTube, it sort of covers the look of the image, you know. It changes a little bit the viewing, right? But on a Facebook Live, you can comment in the comments box and you can still see me, and you can write what you like, because what you write down specifically, someone else will read, sure. And the best thing about it is that your little writing can help somebody else who's reading in a replay. And so I'm talking, you're sharing, your shares, my conversation helps other people. And so the idea is that it expands, right? It expands to help everybody else. So sharing is a very powerful way. You're sharing your desire, you're sharing what's coming up for you. And I love that. I love that so much. So those of you who do it every single day, or nearly every day, from my heart to yours, thank you so very much. Now, so we're talking about what can you do to fill your cup, right? And the filling of the cup can be one little thing, maybe it's 10 things, but start looking after you and start being present to who you really are, right? Rather than being the program that you were created into. Right? Your soul is not your program. It's a completely different thing. And if you are resonating with what I'm saying, please let me know. Now, yesterday I was with little Heidi, granddaughter number 2, who wanted to come with me and share her beautiful cherub cards with you. I hope you enjoyed that. Some of you were very beautiful with your responses, and she just absolutely loved it when I shared your responses to her. Her face just glowed with happiness. Of course, she's got no concept at the moment, not really, about how huge Facebook is and the interaction that occurs. But I shared that with her, and she just gave me the most beautiful smile and a big hug around my neck where my head nearly dropped off. But look, that was just wonderful. So thank you to you who did that for little Heidi yesterday. They are my granddaughters, and I'm making bloody sure that they are full, and they grow into full embodied women with their own mind, their beautiful stand-up set of values and kick-ass attitude, so that they can have a life that is so worth living, and be happy with whatever comes for them and they create in their life. And that's very, very important to me. So here we are. Okay, what is today's card all about? I am very curious. And here we are. Something just, oh my gosh. Okay, the Two of Pentacles. What is the 2 about? I can really relate to this card right now, and I'm going to share it to you. Okay, so here you see a woman, and she's standing there, and she's around the tree. Now, the trees and the rocks are always some of the symbols that relate to the pentacles. What is the pentacles all about? The coins or the diamonds in a normal pack of cards. That is the symbol of them, and they relate to the earth. They relate to being grounded. Now, the Two of Pentacles is all about things coming to a head, right? You're going to be juggling the coins, which means you're going to be having to do a few things at once this week. All right, maybe it's already started. Maybe you notice the momentum starting to build up after this full moon energy, the full moon talking about completions. And we had a blood moon. Holy moly, it is a very powerful full moon. And I think it was in the sign of Leo, if I remember rightly. Leo being that, you know, the lion, the king of the beasts. Now, what can we take from that energy for this card today? The Two of Pentacles, meaning you've got lots of things coming up for you, right, on the material level. and on your daily routine. It's in this physical reality. That's what the Pentacles are all about. Not only just material like money, manifestation and things like that, but it's also what we got right now. So whatever comes to you, if you're moving house, you need to declutter, right? That's another way of decluttering. You'll need to be juggling actually 2 or 3 things at once, unless you're a super juggler and you can do 5 things at once. You can do 5 things, but do 1 thing at a time. So here is the example of that today. You will be, so if you're just doing 1 thing at the moment and you're happy with that, you'll have more things coming up as of the next 2 hours from when I'm speaking this. All right, more things are going to show up in your reality where you're going to have to deal with them. Now here's the power, right? With the full moon eclipse that we've had right now, that blood moon, that huge change, right? That is asking us to drop things that no longer work for you. And some of you might be going, oh, I've dropped that part, that emotional part. It's more on the emotional level that affects your physical reality right now. So there are your emotions, your unhealed stuff, or the things that you're hanging on to from fear or begrudgingly you're doing that, or out of anger still from the past. Now's the time to let it go, because it's not serving you and it's probably making you unwell and keeping you separated from people in your life. And maybe you don't want those people in your life right now, but maybe let go of the anger and forgive. The Ho'oponopono prayer is very wonderful for that. Notice how I said the Ho'oponopono prayer without having to stop and say the other word. I've been practicing. Okay, so getting back to this card, that's what it actually means. It means juggling and releasing, right? Going, oh, I don't want that anymore in my life, right? I need to get rid of that. And I need to do it wholly and solely. How do you do that? Is being very present in the moment and go, oh, that comes that old emotion from the past that's triggering me. Now I notice it, because the more and more you notice it, the mind that is there to support you from in times of fear, your mind supports you in times of an emergency, I should say. And so, but from that, it brings up this stuff that stops us from getting deeper within ourselves. So that is a really powerful card. And any time between now, the next 2 hours, the next 2 days, 2 weeks and 2 months, all in those twos, you're going to have these things come up that are going to be challenging for you. Some of you might need to get off your butt and start doing what you said that you do that you haven't already done. Some of you might need to go, right, I'm going to get rid of that that's not working for me, done and dusted, I can't live like that anymore, and now you're going to take on a new habit. This is beautiful. So those of you who want to cultivate a new habit, something new you want to create in your reality right now that will propel you in your business, or propel you in the way in which you live your life, and the way in which you propel yourself forward. And you must get rid of the baggage. You must get rid of all those bits. Being aware of them is a start. Does that make sense? Okay, so your emotions, even though this is not an emotion card, the emotions creates the thought. The thoughts also affect the way in which you operate on a daily basis, a daily routine. Creating new routines is what this is all about. Does that make sense? Right? So renew the things that you need to renew. Chuck out the things that don't work for you anymore, and now start to operate with a new mindset, right? That is actually for everybody on the planet right now is doing that. Unless, of course, you're Eric Ho and you've already nailed it. Bloody fantastic. Who am I going to read for this morning? Yeah, hi. Okay. Who's up there? Oh, geez. Okay, I'm going to start. Here we have, let me have a look. look. I've got a lady here whose name I can read. Emma Alman. Emma, have I read for you before? I really don't remember. But, darling, here, this card is for Emma. And knowing that if the card is for Emma, it is also for all of us here right now. I'm doing a beautiful shuffle. Thanks to those of you who are still on for Emma. The Archangel of Understanding. Here we have, again, you know, the Archangel of Understanding is asking you, Emma, at this point in time in your life, to go within and listen to your inner voice. And if your mind at the moment is like the monkey forest in Ubud, right, in Bali, where you've got all the monkeys going in your head, right, then start to now focus on calming your mind. Calming your mind so you can hear that inner voice. Listen to your gut feeling about things. Try your best to avoid working like a programmed robot, if you like. Now I've got to do this and now I've got to do that. Sometimes it's good just to stop during the day, like break that habit of being who you think you are, right? Break that habit and sometimes go, right, I've never done this before. I'm going to take a lunch break at 11, or I'm going to go to the beach right now, or I'm going to go and take myself for a drive just to get myself out of that rut, that I'm do something different that is not in a routine, and in order to create another routine that's serving you better. Does that make sense? So, and trust the guidance. Trust the guidance. The dreams, the inner knowledge can come from dreams, and also in your daydreams, and maybe even taking a half an hour little rest to go lie on your bed or lie on the couch or sit down quietly on your own and do that. Now, giving to yourself is what this card is all about, because this particular Archangel Uriel, shows the way to universal knowledge. So the archangels are working with you all the time, okay, for you to be aware and to listen and to be very present to their knowledge. So if you ask a question to the universe, to God, to the God force, to Jesus, whatever you want to call it, when you ask a question, it will be answered. You can trust that. And some of my clients say to me sometimes, I wonder, I don't hear that voice. And that's you not allowing that, and you have to change your routine. Maybe go for a walk. Do something different to break the habit of being you, especially when you are going down a dark hole with negative thoughts, and you can sort of feel that. Does that make sense? So, Emma, I hope this has helped you today. Thank you also to everybody who personal messages me and says, oh, thanks, Wanda, I really love that reading that you gave me. I got so much from it, and they tell me a little story. And starting tomorrow, I'm going to start a new little Facebook vlog, or blog if you like, and I'm going to be sharing some of these wisdoms with you, that what has happened for other people while listening to these daily messages. And also I'll be sharing some stories from people who have come for a reading and have had great success after stepping into that reading for clarity, reading from me for clarity, and so on. Guys, I hope this has been helpful. Thank you. Oh, hang on a minute. I'll answer this question. All right. So hang on, Ian. I've just seen your question. This is really powerful, and I want to answer this for everybody. If you've got any ailment, like with your feet, now Ian's just talking about, I don't know whether it's you or someone else has got conjunctivitis, but conjunctivitis is not seeing your truth. All right. So if you've come up with that in your beingness, it's about you not seeing you, right? It's not about seeing other people. It's about you not seeing you. You're all clogged up. You're trying to look too much out there for the answer when really you should be going in. My recommendation, Ian, is that you start to do some meditations, meditation where you're just in the silence and in emptiness. And I know that sounds really weird. You can start maybe with a little voice saying, quieten down, do the normal meditation, but sort of getting down to that very calmness of you. I hope that makes sense for you, but conjunctivitis is very much like that. All our bodily ailments and where they are correspond to a thought pattern that we have in our mind, and ultimately if we're trying to do one thing, we're not seeing it. So rather than looking out there for the answers, guys, give it to yourself. Ian, give yourself some love. Ian, start looking at who you are and love the energy, that beautiful being that you are in yourself. Does that make sense? I hope that does. Let me know if it does make sense. And I hope that does make sense for everybody on today. So what is your day in the next 24 hours, 2 days, 2 hours from now, 2 months from now? Things are going to come up and they're going to challenge you a little bit, all right, to get things sorted. Ease and flow. To maintain a flow, you need to be in the present moment. If you're in the past and generating a sense of overwhelm because you can't do it all and you might have 10 things to do. If you've got 10 things to do, that's fine. 10 things to do, then do one at a time and prioritize. I'm going to do this one now. I'm going to do it right now until this time. Finished or not, that's what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to do the next one. Do one thing at a time, even though during the day you might have had 5 things to do. Does that make sense? All right, but do one thing at a time. That is what I've been training myself to do, and I'm telling you now, it works. Guys, I hope that's been super helpful for you today. Please remember to comment, because some of you in America who are going to sleep right now, you've just written something fabulous. You've already created your day. And for those of us in Australia still waking up or still on our coffee and brekkie, and you're listening right now, take it on. Take on the lesson for today. Juggling around and listening to your inner self. 2 powerful things. Guys, I hope that's been helpful. Tomorrow I will be on time to serve you. Why? Because I love you and I want you to have a beautiful day. In the meantime, I will catch you tomorrow. Bye.